Yo, we in here. Today we back with another video about how to improve your communication by 4.59 times. I don't know what that name is, but I hope you guys understand and take from the video on how to communicate properly and holding eye contact, keeping your confidence, not putting yourself at a bad position when communicating to people. Now, stuttering comes, but try not to. Like, normally, if I'm talking to you face to face, I'm not going to stutter as much. On the camera, I'm trying to make sure I keep it where I'm not, but the way my brain works, I'm like constantly grabbing new ideas to put on top of each other. So, whenever I'm talking, it might come off like choppy. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let's get into it.
Listen up, because you need to hear this. Your communication skills are lacking quite a bit. You might struggle to form clear sentences and make genuine connections with others. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Does that sound like you, maybe? Fortunately for you, I'm here to...
Hey, that might sound like y'all, but that ain't me. You gotta see me in person, man.
Hope you turn things around. So, pay attention and I'll lay out 5 brutally honest ways to elevate your communication game. If you have the guts to follow these steps, you might just go from an absolute mess to somebody worth listening to. Buckle up, because we got a lot of work to do. Way number 1, you gotta start listening more.
Now, before they get into theirs, listening is so important in a conversation. You cannot have a conversation without listening to the other person, because when you're talking to somebody one-on-one, that is a one-on-one conversation. You take in what they're saying and they take in what you're saying. Now, the biggest thing about my communication is because I love to listen. Like, I understand, and what I hear from what you say, I will grab and create a whole new conversation and a new topic from it. Being observative and figuring out the base of this person. Like, the way I observe people is to a way where I'm like, I'll create a whole story for them and how they grew up or whatever, just from like first looks or whatever. Like, I'll figure out what your hobbies are by the way you dress. I'll figure out how you talk by the way you hold yourself, and see where your mind is. I like to pick your brain.
Let's kick it off with the cold hard truth. You're a bad listener, I assume. Don't deny it. We all know you're the one who interrupts, daydreams, and checks your phone when somebody's talking to you.
That's
Here's the
crazy.
deal. Listening is crucial for effective communication. And you're gonna have to shape up if you want to improve. I once knew this guy named Tom who was notorious for being a terrible listener. He'd constantly interrupt people, he barely pays attention, and he fails to remember anything that they said. I watched as a seemingly minor flaw created a domino effect that absolutely destroyed his relationships and work life. At his job, Tom's inability to listen to mistakes, misunderstandings, and missed opportunities, his coworkers became increasingly frustrated with him, and his boss lost trust in his ability to handle projects. When he had a chance to land a significant promotion, his weak listening skills absolutely led to him being passed over. In his personal life, Tom's friends and family started to avoid conversations with him. They were tired of feeling unheard, unimportant, and disrespected.
Have y'all ever had a conversation with somebody that doesn't know how to listen? I hope y'all have, because this is exactly what happens. They walk into the conversation, they don't care what you're talking about. They just start yapping about themselves or how their life goes or whatever. They're like, bro, I don't even know you, for one, so I don't care. And 2, I was in the middle of talking, so the fact that you have the audacity to interrupt the conversation to talk about something that's not even relevant is crazy. I mean, really think about that. So if you're one of those type of people, you have to take a second, take a step back, realize you're ruining the relationships you could possibly have in the future by just not listening. Like, if you can't listen, you can't communicate.
My dad's like this, and I don't talk to him as much as I would if he just listened to what I said. Eventually, his girlfriend of 3 years, we're talking about Tom now, sorry. His girlfriend of 3 years broke up with him, citing his lack of emotional support and inability to genuinely listen to her needs. Tom's life was a prime example of the damage that poor listening can cause. Don't let that be you. Commit to being a better listener. It's not about keeping your mouth shut. It's about actively engaging with the speaker, asking thoughtful questions about something that they brought up. Just because you listen to what they say and then pivot to what you want to talk about afterwards, that's not listening.
That's what I was talking about. Taking what they're saying and linking it to different topics and ideas. So say you're walking up to a girl, right? You're like, yo, what's up? How are you? Where you from? She says where she's from. Okay. How about you go with, instead of like, oh, I'm from here, be like, oh, what's going on down there? Like, how long you been there? Like add things to that conversation. Build off of just that right there. If you let somebody lead their conversation, then you got it. You don't got to do work. It's so easy, because the best way to communicate is without really having to talk about anything. You say something for them to talk about. They start talking, and if you keep making them talk, or you keep letting them talk, people love to talk about themselves. If you keep letting them talk, the whole conversation is going to carry itself. And then boom. Now, say you're talking to a girl, you have that mysterious aspect where she doesn't know too much about you, but you know a whole lot about her. And that's high ground right there. You know, you already have that great positioning where you can understand what's going on with her, and she has to learn more about you.
Sitting there, thinking of what you're going to say, is not listening. Asking thoughtful questions and demonstrating empathy, that's listening. Show people that their thoughts and feelings actually matter to you, and watch as your relationship and opportunities begin to flourish, and more importantly, your thoughts and feelings matter to them more.
Yep.
Way number 2, think before you speak. Now that you understand the importance of active listening, let's move on to the next essential skill. Think before you speak. Just like
Figure out
Tom's
what you're
inability to
going to
listen, some
say.
people have a terrible habit of speaking without giving any thought to their words. As a result, they come across as impulsive, thoughtless, and even occasionally rude. In today's society, we see so many people just rambling their thoughts as if they were having a conversation with themselves. These people should take a moment to reflect on what they're saying. Is it really valuable what I'm talking about, or do I come off as a loser that's wasting people's time and attention? That's right, you look like a loser, and you set yourself up to become a dislikable person. To avoid becoming that person, it's crucial to take a moment to consider the potential impact of your words before they leave your mouth. That brief pause makes all the difference between a successful conversation and a disastrous one. That brief pause can stop you saying some of the most regrettable shit you've ever said.
Now, thinking about what you're going to say before you say it is very important. It prevents a lot of like misunderstandings from happening. You gotta, like me, I like to talk slower, so when I'm in my conversations, I'm not dragging it. I'm not like this and that. No, I'm like actually talking, but I talk slower so I can understand what I'm gonna say before I say it. I don't like to just start blurting out stuff, because then it comes out wrong. And even then, when something doesn't come out the correct way, I'm able to catch myself right there so I can fix it in that moment.
Thinking before you speak is about choosing your words carefully and considering how they might be received by the other person, not just about what the content of the words you're saying are, but how that person would receive it.
Exactly.
It's about being tactful and diplomatic, as well as respectful of other people's feelings.
I will purposely miss out on opportunities to say one thing so I can create something better to say later on. Literally. Like I'll think of something and it won't hit as much as a topic I could bring up later in that conversation. And the same thing.
Consider whether you're about to say something necessary, relevant, and appropriate for the situation. If it's not, bite your tongue and save your thoughts for something more suitable.
Just like I said.
Listen, by watching these videos, I know you aren't one of those losers who think they already know everything. Even if you've only watched one video on this channel, you still clicked on it, and
Hey,
that shows that
300.
you have a fire inside of you to start improving. You already showed the willpower. The only thing you need is a path. I've put down 10 modules which you can see as ladders step how to run up to actual mud jacked. You just lack the never-ending cycle. Way number 3. Be brief and be specific. Now let's talk about the importance of being brief and specific in your conversations. As much as people listen and appreciate somebody who can listen before they speak, they also value somebody who knows how to get to the point. In our fast-paced world, time's precious. Nobody has the attention span anymore, and nobody wants to listen to somebody who rambles on aimlessly or goes on tangents, specifically if they're about themselves.
Now, besides what I'm doing right here, I don't talk like a crazy amount. So when you create those ideas, right, and you're trying to prove a point, people are like, think of TikTok, right? When you see something you don't like in that TikTok, you swipe, and then you swipe, and then you swipe. The attention span is not there for most people. So being cutthroat or like straight to the point is very important in today's life. But you got to understand how you say these things. You can't come off aggressive when you're trying to say something about your opinion, because it's going to negate anybody from really trying to agree to your opinion. You got to understand the way you come off and the way you express this stuff. If you're very passionate about a certain topic, you're going to always say it in a more like up, louder, and just raised of the voice way. But if you can catch yourself on that and you explain it in a way where people are willing to understand, instead of it sound like you're freaking shoving it down their throat, then people are more accustomed to trying to understand where you're coming from. So if I was bringing up an opinion about something I like or I don't like, instead of coming off aggressive, I'd come off from a way like, okay, I see what you mean by that, but if we did this, or if you could stop doing this, then people are more willing to help with my opinion.
A concise and direct approach to communication is highly valued,
Don't
and it shows
sugarcoat
respect for
things.
listeners' time and attention. Being brief and specific means that you communicate your thoughts, opinions, or information in a clear and straightforward manner. You don't waste time on minutia. Avoid that fluff, that minutia. Don't use 10 words when you can convey your point with 2 or 3. In the immortal words of Kevin from The Office, why use many word when few word do trick? By doing so, you increase the likelihood that your message will be understood and remembered. The consequences of failing to be brief and specific in your communication can be dire. For one, you risk losing the attention span of your audience. People tend to tune out when they feel that someone's wasting their time or not providing valuable information. Additionally, you might come across as indecisive, uncertain, or lacking confidence if your speech is filled with filler words or vague language. Like this can lead to others questioning your credibility, and like maybe you're.
So with that, like I just said, the people that come into conversations and just start explaining things about themselves, or like saying the whole old freaking memory of themselves, I forgot what it was called, but when they start doing that, it's just dragging on and on. Like, dude, I don't really care. That's not even what I was talking about. I'm talking to this person and we're having a cool conversation. You coming in, interrupting us, and just bringing up your whole life past, your whole life story. Nobody cares about it unless you make a topic for people to actually care about it.
Your confidence and competence. Don't worry, I'm not letting you figure it out from here. Competence. You see what I mean? Don't worry, I'm not letting you just figure it out from your own. From here, here's the guidelines that you can follow. Organize your thoughts. Before you begin speaking, take a moment to mentally outline your main points. This will help you stay on track and avoid going on tangents. Although it's worth pointing out that you can't overthink too. because that just leads to analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
So
And
there's a balance.
that's what I
here.
do on here sometimes.
Use clear and straightforward language. Avoid using jargon, slang, or complicated vocabulary when simple words will do. This will make it easier for your audience to understand and retain your message. And not just from like the, oh, well, even dumb people will get it. Even smart people that know the big words you're using will think that it's completely unnecessary.
Exactly.
And that they could understand your point. They're gonna get to the end They could understand your point. It's just gonna take them longer to do it. Stick to the point.
This right here,
Keep your
I could
focus on the
learn
main
from.
topic and resist the
So
urge to
I'm not only
digress or
teaching y'all, I'm
share
teaching
unrelated
myself too.
anecdotes. If you find yourself veering off course, pause, regroup, and redirect your thoughts back to a central theme. Way number 4, use your body language. Alright, here's something that you can't ignore. Body language.
Yeah.
You see, a massive chunk of communication is nonverbal. Your body is always talking, and if you're not paying attention, you are sending the wrong message. So listen up and learn how to master your body language. First things first, it's eye contact. You gotta maintain it. Screams confidence and honesty. If you're always looking away, people will think that you're hiding something, or you don't care, or you're too insecure. Stand up straight, too. The good posture tells the world that you're self-assured and capable, while slouching screams insecurity and laziness. Now let's talk about gestures. Use your hands when you speak. It adds some extra punch to your words and makes your point crystal clear. But don't go over the top and wave your arms around like a lunatic. Keep it natural, in tune with your speech.
This right here.
And also, do not forget your face. A well-timed smile or raised eyebrow can say a lot, so use them wisely. And also, facial expressions, like you just heard, tend to affect the way that we speak. So, it adds some character. Remember, good communication isn't just about what you say, but also how you say it. So, sharpen up that body language and watch your interactions flourish. Way number 5, watch your tone. You might think that the words you say are what matters most.
That goes into exactly what I was talking about. When you're so passionate into something, if you watch your tone and figure out what you're going to say, if you say it in a cooler manner, people are more accustomed to trying to hear you out and trying to understand where you're coming from. So if you was explaining something like, yo, no, this is the best thing ever because this and this and this, your ideas and your opinions, they don't matter. Like, if you're telling people their opinions don't matter, why would they care about yours? Exactly. So if you watch your tone, you say it in a cool-headed manner, and you figure out what you're trying to say, then people are going to listen.
But the truth is, your tone plays just as massive of a role in how your message is perceived. If your tone doesn't align with your words, your message can become distorted or even completely misunderstood. So let's make sure you get this right. Pay attention to your volume. Don't mumble or whisper, because that'll make you seem unsure or uninterested. But also don't scream or shout, as that'll make you come across as aggressive or confrontational, or worst of all, an attention hog. Keep your volume at a comfortable level and make it short level that shows you're engaged and confident. The pace of your speech is essential too. Talking too fast can make you appear nervous, and your listener might struggle to keep up. And speaking too slowly, on the other hand, can be interpreted as a lack of confidence, or worse, like boredom. Find a rhythm that suits the situation and let your words sink in. Lastly, your tone should match the content of your message. If you're discussing something serious, maintain a somber and respectful tone. If the conversation's lighthearted, feel free to use a more relaxed and casual tone. And, as always, be mindful of sarcasm or condescending tones, as that can instantly damage your relationship or undermine your message. So, don't wait any longer. Start applying these strategies today and witness the powerful impact they can have on your personal and professional life. Remember, when it comes to communication, there's always room for improvement. As a softball pitching coach for my sibling once told me, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. I know it's corny, but it's a...
Dang, I mean, that's real stuff. Biggest room in the world is room for improvement. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video, and I hope y'all understand how you come off and how you convey your conversations is very important in just elevating how you talk to people or elevating your life in general. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all on the next one. We is out.